Hi, welcome to Visual Studio Toolbox. I'm your host, Robert Green, and joining me today is Ryan Salva. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, man.
Ryan's back on the show to talk to us about the Cordova tools in Visual Studio.
Yeah.
And some changes and additions since the last time you were here.
Yeah, since, gosh, I guess it's been 3-4 months at least.
Something like that.
Yeah, so since then, we've had an awesome time there, talked to like a lot of groovy people, and the RC release has been doing strong, and we're kind of getting ready here in the next couple of weeks to do RTM.
We are a couple weeks away from RTM.
Yeah,
July 20th, in fact.
Coming soon, very soon. Actually, just 4 days after my birthday, so all of you kind of on the air, 4 days, July 16th, send your presents my way.
That's too bad because July 20th is my birthday.
Is it really, dude?
Yes.
Oh, crazy.
So, of course, to honor me and all of the contributions I've made to Visual Studio throughout the years, I'm pretty sure that Soma chose that date just to honor me.
That is a rare
That's what I was told.
Gift. That is a rare gift. Well, fellow Cancerian, I salute you.
Thank you.
But anyway, so yeah, we got RTM coming out, and we've had a lot of good activity on Stack Overflow. Folks coming in, writing questions, using the product. I thought this was kind of a good time to step out from behind the computer, at least from behind the keyboard part of it, and talk to folks and talk a little bit about kind of what some of the changes are afoot and what they can expect coming into RTM.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you guys probably know, the tools for Apache Cordova are really cross-platform development tools. So for building mobile applications for iOS, Android, and Windows using a shared HTML, CSS, JavaScript code base, code base. And so what will often happen is that we find a lot of developers are kind of working in mixed dev environment teams where they've maybe got some designers who are working on a Mac, then they've got some developers who are over there working on PC, and the whole thing kind of gets mixed together, and what have you got? You got a need for interoperability, right? And so what you really find in between kind of the 2013 CTP or technology preview flavors of the tools for Apache Cordova and the 2015 flavors of it is you've got a fundamental change to the project system. And we made these changes kind of to become compatible with not just the stock version of Cordova that's kind of available, kind of off the shelf from the open source community, but also to enable interoperability with other command line based tools like Ionic, Grunt, Gulp, Bower, NPM. And so that's exactly what we're going to do here today. We're going to start a project in Ionic, one of the more popular control frameworks for Cordova applications. And then we're going to show how you can use that same project between kind of your Mac-based workflow with a loosely coupled tool chain. We'll even use Visual Studio Code. And then we'll hop on over into Visual Studio from it.
Cool.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start in our terminal window. Clearly I'm on the Mac side of things here, right? And from here, I'm actually going to do just that. I'm going to start a Ionic app. And notice that I'm doing this here from the command line, as is typical of Mac-based developers, JavaScript developers, doing a lot of stuff in the terminal window there. And so what's happening right now is that Ionic, as a node-based tool, is just going out to the interwebs, pulling down Cordova and all the special sauce that makes Ionic what it is. You can see there it's pulling down from NPM. And here we go. We've got a new project. And in this case, let's go ahead and change directories to where that's at. All right, cool. We see that we're in there, and you can see that we've got package.json that's kind of letting us know what packages we got. It's already got Gulp built into it. For those that don't know, Gulp is essentially a build task manager. Think of it like the JavaScript equivalent of MS Build, kind of, and kind of a competitor to Grunt. Grunt's another one of the major kind of super popular ones. So let's see this in action, just so we understand what kind of an app we're working with here. So I'm going to do Ionic emulate iOS, and what that's going to do is that's just going to start up the iOS simulator on the Mac side of things and actually bring up my app kind of as it would be on an iPhone or on an iPad, or I don't think on an iWatch, just iPhone or iPad. So we're doing our build here, using all the build tools. In this particular case, it's going to bring it up as an iPhone 6 app. Here it is launching. Let's zoom out a little bit. Where's the zoom at? Zoom scale. Let's do it at like 50% so we can actually see it. There we go.
Okay.
Now it's a little bit more visible. And that's just the start screen kind of coming up here. Actually, maybe we just have that in there today. Okay, so it's just, oh, there it is. I knew it was coming up. All right, and so in here, you've got a bunch of controls. And keep in mind, these are entirely JavaScript, HTML,
right.
CSS controls. But looking at it, you would probably be hard-pressed to know the difference between these and an actual kind of native application. It's got the fun little navigation, kind of slides coming in between each one of them. You've got the typical slider menu that's happening here. That's one of the great things kind of about a lot of the JavaScript control frameworks that have come up in the last year. The differences between native UI and web UI are kind of melting away. It's really just kind of evaporating away. And so you're able to get a lot of the same look and feel that you would get with a normal application just by kind of using the pre-built controls that are available from some of these frameworks. And Ionic is one of my favorite ones. These guys, super cool, super smart guys, a lot of fun. But anyways, so that's our app kind of up and running. And now we want to kind of get that same app.
Now that app right now is a cross-platform app because it's using Cordova?
It's automatically. So when you're using Ionic, you are using Cordova. Okay. Ionic is just a control framework that works inside of Cordova. And so there's really nothing special about it other than the JavaScript frameworks that are kind of getting installed with it. Otherwise, straight up stock Cordova app.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons that it can interop with the Visual Studio tools.
Right.
Right. All right, so we need to get this guy over to Visual Studio. Now, we could just do a copy and paste of all the files, but frankly, that's not the way most developers work. We use source control, right? So let's actually do that. Let's use VSO and let's use Git to kind of publish it to a source control repo, just like you would in a normal environment. So here we go. We're going to start by going over. Now, I'm running parallels here. When you see me sort of switch back and forth, that's just me going back and forth between my Windows VM and the Mac side of things. So we're going to pop on over here. I've already logged into Visual Studio Online. This is the total freebie account that I get for being a Microsoft employee, and I think the world gets as well. Is that right?
Up to 5 users. VSO is free.
That's right. That's right. So here we're going to do. We're going to create a new project. We're just going to call this one My App, because I think that's what I called it back over on the other side. I'm going to say that I want to do it using Git. I'm going to say Create Project. All right. It's going to take a little moment for it to provision it back in the cloud and to kind of get it kind of tucked away. But once it is finished provisioning the project, then it's going to give me a nice little Git URI that I can use to push the code back from the Mac side of things up into the cloud, and I'll bring that down into Visual Studio.
Now, you could have obviously gone to the VSO site on the Mac and done this in Safari or your browser of choice.
I just happened to do it over on the Windows side of things. All right, so we're going to navigate to the project. Here we go. We're going to want to add code first. So that's exactly what you're going to do. And we're going to want to push an existing repository. It gives us kind of some nice little things that we can copy and paste here. So I'm just going to copy this first one over. Now, from here, I need to init my Git repo first. All right, it's initialized. I am going to open this guy in Visual Studio Code because Visual Studio Code gives me the nice ability to do commits directly from inside of it. Super cool. So, Visual Studio Code. Cool. So there it is. And while I'm here, I do want to make one little change.
It's kind of a neat shortcut.
Yeah.
But from that directory, you could also just type code. Or not?
You know what? I haven't set up that shortcut yet.
Okay.
There is a shortcut that you can set up. I've got the long version because I didn't set up my command line.
All right.
I just did. All right. So, but from here, I do want to make one change, and that's to the gitignore file. Everyone probably knows this, but the gitignore file just says what you check in and what you don't.
Right.
In this particular case, I do not want it to include either. Let's see, we'll include the plugins folder, but we will not include the platforms folder. All right. Save that guy. Actually, let's go ahead and take the plugins guy out as well. Save that guy. Cool. Now that's all ready to go. I want to commit it. First commit. Yay. There we go. Now we're ready to go here. Now remember, back over when I was on the VSO side, I copied and pasted a little URL
so
there.
This is just local. This
is just local right now.
Repository. Hasn't been sent to Git yet, but you're about to.
So at the moment, I just want to specify what the origin of my directory is. I'm basically pointing it, saying, hey, the origin of this repository is over on VSO, right? Executed that guy, and then we got one more to execute here. We're just going to copy and paste this one because I'm lazy. Push all. It's going to think about it. All right.
So how come you didn't have to log into Git?
I had already logged in on this machine, so
Okay.
it's just maintaining my credentials from the last time I logged in. Yeah, I'm a frequent user of VSO, and so it remembers me. Yep. Cool. All right. So now we've got everything up in Git. We're ready to go back over to the Visual Studio side of things, pull it down, and start editing.
Right.
Let's do that.
You could, of course, continue to work on this in Visual Studio